For its starting price of $1,800, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 doesn't offer anything too big or fresh over its predecessor, but regardless, it's still arguably the most incredible smartphone for tech enthusiasts and Android power users to date. With its many empowering multitasking features, stylus support, big and beautiful folding display, and respectable battery life, the Z Fold 4 can not only be a phone in your pocket and a tablet in your hands, but even your PC replacement. Although the Z Fold 4 keeps the same 12GB of LPDDR5 RAM as its predecessor, we now have the new, flagship Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor on board. The camera situation has changed a bit too, as the Z Fold 4 now basically rocks the Samsung Galaxy S22's camera setup, which features higher specs for the wide and ultra-wide cameras, plus a telephoto shooter with 3x optical zoom instead of 2x. The battery stays at 4,400 mAh, which might not seem like a lot for such a large phone, but we'll get to that later. And last but not least, although it's not obvious by looking at the specs, the folding display's aspect ratio has been changed a tiny bit, making it shorter and a tad wider than before. When folded, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is a candy bar-shaped phone that, as my niece commented when she first saw it, looks like two phones glued together. It's not notably thinner than its predecessors, although it is technically the lightest Z Fold to date, at just 263 grams, 9.28 ounces. It feels very premium and substantial in the hand, and since Samsung has managed to reduce its hinge bulge and the outer display's bezels, it looks better than ever. We have a familiar premium glass and metal design, with the back having a nice, smooth matte finish, which resists fingerprints better than your average glossy phone back would. As the Z Fold 4's name suggests, and surely you know, you can fold and unfold this phone, and, well, it takes a bit of effort to unfold it. You don't really have a spot to stick your finger in and start pulling the two halves apart, so you better have some nails, and you better not be sweaty, as the Z Fold's frames can get a bit slippery. At least in the insane heat that I'm currently living in. Also, there can be a slight creaking sound when unfolding it still, although that's rare. You get used to all that, but surely it's not the peak of what a foldable experience can be. On a more positive note, closing the phone after using it unfolded is smooth and easy, and feels quite satisfying, as it ends with a reassuring magnetic snap. We have dual stereo speaker grills, one on the Z Fold 4's top and bottom sides, plus a USB Type-C charging port on the latter. On the sides we have the volume keys and a power key with an embedded fingerprint scanner. No in-display fingerprint scanner here. Let's start with the smaller outer display before we unfold this beast. We have a tall 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED screen capable of up to 120Hz refresh rate. What does all that mean? It means Samsung didn't skimp on the outer display, it's super smooth, and the fact that it's AMOLED means solid blacks, vibrant colors, and a generally beautiful experience when using it. And what can you use the cover display for? Basically anything: answering calls, replying to texts, browsing social media apps, anything you wouldn't bother unfolding the phone for. Sure, it's still a rather tall and not very wide display, but I wouldn't call it cramped. Using the on-screen keyboard is not a problem, and again, it's big enough for most tasks you may want to do without actually unfolding the Z Fold 4. But now let's do exactly that and unfold it, revealing its gorgeous, big 7.6-inch flexible display. Again dynamic AMOLED, again 120Hz capable, again very beautiful. Watching YouTube videos and movies, playing games, scrolling through social media apps or browsing the web on this display is an absolute joy. I can't oversell how cool it is to take a phone out of your pocket and go gadget it into a squarish tablet with a big display. Which, by the way, is very comfortable to hold, especially compared to a tablet, thanks to its smaller size and weight, and squarish aspect ratio. But let's talk about display feel. The Z Fold 4's flexible display still feels a tad softer than an average glass screen, as we could have expected, but it's worth noting it nonetheless. It does support two S Pen styluses, the S Pen Fold Edition and the S Pen Pro, so obviously it won't scratch easily, say, from your fingernails. The main camera module of the Z Fold 4 is virtually identical to its predecessor's module. It's a vertical, pill-shaped one, holding 3 cameras and a flash. But what has changed are those said cameras, which are now almost identical to what the Galaxy S22 packs. There's a main 50-megapixel wide camera with optical image stabilization, OIS, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 10-megapixel telephoto with WAH and 3x optical zoom. Combined with digital zoom, the zoom game on the Z Fold 4 raises up to 30x, 12x in video mode, and the results are actually pretty good. So the big, current trend of flagship phones getting lots of camera zoom is covered here. There's no quality loss at 3x zoom since that's optical, and while there obviously is up to 30x digital zoom, image details are still plenty of distinct. Now let's have a look at how portrait mode photos look on the Z Fold 4, the feature that aims to blur the subject's background, so that only the subject, you, or whoever you're taking a photo of, is in focus. Below is our Z Fold 4 camera samples, with and without portrait mode enabled. On to how main and ultra-wide camera shots look in general, and as you can see from the samples below, pretty good. We took the Z Fold 4 for a few spins on beautiful, sunny days, taking camera shots in perfect lighting, and the results are more than apt. The bright skies look great, the clouds are detailed and color correct, no overexposure. Details in the people, buildings, and vegetation we captured are sharp and clear, colors are accurate. In some rare cases, some more difficult shots did result in overexposure, but it's nothing deal-breaking. So as mentioned earlier, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 has 2 displays, and thus, 2 selfie cameras, one for each. The cover screen selfie camera is a standard hole punch 1, 10 megapixels. The Z Fold 4 is as smooth of a performer as its flagship specs suggest. Again, we have the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor inside, along with 12 GB of RAM, which seems to be enough for stutter-free multitasking. If you're a gamer, which by the way this phone is perfect for, you'll be happy to know that even heavy 3D games run fine at their highest settings, and since we have a 120Hz AMOLED display and dual stereo speakers, those games will look big and beautiful and sound big too. Here's how the Z Fold 4 fares against what little competition it has, as well as against some of the current mainstream flagships. This is where things get fun. To me, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is a power user phone above all else, for heavy multitaskers and tech enthusiasts who wish to make the most out of just one device. And Samsung thought of that, giving us all the features we might need. The Z Fold 4 comes with Android 12 leaders and One UI 4.1.1 on top, and at first glance, you get a pretty normal Android One UI phone experience. We have a familiar home screen with app icons and widgets, but open an app like Chrome and you'll notice that a fixed taskbar appears now. That handy little taskbar has a Windows-like start button for accessing all of your apps at any time. It also holds your favorite and recently used apps, plus the navigation keys. It's so useful to have this fixed taskbar on a big phone, for quickly switching between apps or dragging some from it over your current app, opening both at the same time in a split screen. You can even drag over a third app for running 3 across the screen. As we mentioned earlier, for its size the Galaxy Z Fold 4 has a seemingly rather small 4400 mAh battery, split between 2 cells, one on each side of the phone. But don't let that fool you, this phone is no slouch when it comes to battery life. For example, in our YouTube playback battery benchmark, where we basically stream YouTube videos until the battery dies, the Z Fold 4 lasted nearly 9 hours. Check out all of our battery benchmarks below to see what you can expect for different use cases. While it's not a major upgrade over its predecessor, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is arguably the best smartphone for the tech enthusiast, who wants to do everything with just one device. It's a phone, it's a tablet, and can even act similarly to a desktop PC. With many amazing and polished power user features, such as split screen and windowed multitasking, a fixed taskbar, Samsung DeX, and stylus support, the Z Fold 4 fully empowers you to do everything you've ever wanted with Android. And even if you just want to watch videos and movies, or games on something that's big, yet more comfortable in the hands than a tablet, the Z Fold 4 is still a great option to consider. I hope, in this video, you get to know more about the latest gadgets in the market. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon as we upload gadgets videos on our channel. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next video.